Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Becky.
We are registered dietitians that are passionate about using food as medicine, and we use functional approaches to whole body health.
In today's video, we are going to be covering the top 5 detox myths and how a nutritionally supported detox can be done.
So the first one that we have to just knock out right away is that you don't need to partake in a nutritionally supported detox because your body is equipped to do it for you. And although it's true that your liver and your kidneys, your skin, and your respiratory system do have the ability to detoxify, and those are the primary ways of detoxification, we have to acknowledge, if you've taken a biochemical class or if you have taken any classes in advanced anatomy and physiology, that you understand that there are actual detox pathways in the body, specific enzyme pathways that have an influence based on nutrients. So when we're talking about detoxification, there are biochemically sound approaches to actually support or upregulate these enzymes and enhance the detox process. I think the most well acknowledged in the medical field is cytochrome P450. In fact, about 90% of pharmacological agents are detoxified or cleared through this pathway in the liver. There are also nutrients that can upregulate this cytochrome P450 enzyme pathway. In fact, we see specific enzymes within this family to drive risk factor of disease, like the CYP1A. When this is hindered, we see a higher risk for testicular and estrogen-related cancers. And yet we know that when you have cruciferous vegetables, that we can upregulate or enhance these pathways. This is likely why literature supports that cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts can be anti-cancer or cancer-fighting compounds because they actually drive up that detox pathway. There's also, beyond that phase 1, which is the activation of toxins, taking something that was fat soluble into a water solubility, there's phase 2 detox pathway enzymes as well. And this requires encapsulation of the once activated from phase 1 toxins. So through this encapsulation, we require sulfur-containing compounds and methylation. We're talking about the importance of N-acetylcysteine and methyl donors, and this is going to aid in encapsulation and excretion. So I think that assuming that you cannot support detoxification through nutrients is really dumbing down the biochemical science. And if we're going to understand the pathways, we know that specific nutrients are required to optimize their function.
And I think it's worth saying too that we live in a dirty world
Most
nowadays,
definitely.
and that, maybe in hunter-gatherer times a detox wasn't necessary because we had all of that nutrient intake and didn't have the industrialized chemical intake that we have and the exposure. So, twice yearly I think is really reasonable to be doing a nutritionally supported detox just because of our exposure alone.
Most definitely. And in acute care, like in an emergency setting from toxicity, whether it's Tylenol exposure or alcohol toxicity, the number one thing that they'll do is give them an IV drip of N-acetylcysteine or NAC. Again, that phase 2 detox support. So we use nutrients to drive and support detox even in a clinical model in a more allopathic conventional world. With functional naturopathic approaches, we can enhance and get you to optimal health without getting into that intervention need.
And then the second myth that we want to cover today is that you need activated charcoal or you need a harsh laxative to detoxify. And so while these things might yield more bowel mass or formation, or you might see the buzzworthy charcoal lemonade at the local juice bar, we can actually see more harm than good done by some of these harsh laxatives. So the laxatives can be very abrasive on our GI tract and drive GI distress. We can also see electrolyte imbalance, especially with the activated charcoal kind of binding and absorbing everything, including those nutrients that are needed for detox. So while it might make you feel better if you have acute food poisoning or alcohol toxicity, in the long run, it's not actually supporting and driving that detox process. So we would much rather that you go for whole food forms of fiber, such as those that are in our 10-day detox or even our PhytoFiber supplement, to drive that phase 3 or removal of toxins from the body.
The third myth that we want to cover is that you need to do a juice cleanse. So beyond like the charcoal lemonade type deal, a juice cleanse of your celery juice or whatever's on the market, name it, the green juices and etc. The issue with juicing in general is that these are not whole food based, so you are really stripping the fiber out of the juices, which is creating more of a glycemic index or a higher blood sugar spike. When we have a blood sugar spike, that's not favorable for immune health, metabolic health, and definitely doesn't support detoxification. Also, those phase 2 sulfur-containing compounds come from amino acids, which are from protein sources, or from sulfurous foods like our allium family, which is our onions, shallots, garlics, and leeks. I've never seen those juiced and it would taste pretty funky. Or cruciferous vegetables like the cauliflower, Brussels, cabbage, etc. And so when we're looking at these green juices, they're really only driving nutrients that support that phase 1 activation without providing that encapsulation phase 2 sulfonation or sulfur compounds. And so we can actually create more harm than good by upregulating phase 1 without the phase 2 support.
And not to mention, some of these juices can have upwards, this one's got 63 grams of carbs with, again, very little fiber and no protein and no fat to go along with that. So that excess fructose from all the fruit that's in most of those juices, even if they look green to the eye, there's likely fruit in them if they taste sweet at all, that can actually cause more toxicity or harm to the liver.
Yeah, fructose is a known hepatotoxin, right. So you could actually be driving fatty liver by doing a juice cleanse. Not a good idea. This is equivalent to like 4 slices of bread in the amount of carb density in that bottle.
On to the next myth, that you need to be vegan or avoid animal protein during a detox. So that is not true. And in fact, in our detox, we're recommending 60 to 70 grams minimum of biological protein from sources like wild-caught salmon, pasture-raised chicken, grass-fed beef, or grass-fed whey protein, which is an excellent source of glutathione that's actually going to help to support detox. So those animal proteins actually do contain those phase 2 nutrients that we need to drive that detox process forward.
Yes. And the non-denatured whey, like you said, Becky, is a key component because of those strategic amino acids that have the sulfur-containing compounds, and glutathione helps with both phase 1 and phase 2 activity. The last myth that we will fight is that you're gonna be hungry and cranky or hangry through your 10-day detox. And that's just not the case. We really approach nutritional detoxification as a time to, yes, be mindful on clean eating and eliminate those foods that are pro-inflammatory and highly processed, but we're providing you an abundance of nutrients that support these phase 1 and phase 2 enzyme pathways. And you're going to have a fun time playing with diverse flavors, textures, and probably some recipes that you're going to want to keep in even past your 10-day cleanse. So a 10-day detox in our book is going to approach with maybe starting off your day with the caramelized onion and kale turkey sausage egg cups. Then you could have for lunch this delightful kale salad, which you can check the link below, where we taught you how to massage kale and the benefits of this superfood. And then we would pair a protein with this for lunch, like wild-caught salmon maybe. And then for the evening meal, you might do like our tiki chicken masala with a whole head of roasted cauliflower. Of course, you wouldn't eat the whole head, but you'd probably have a good solid cup of that roasted cauliflower dish. And really delightful flavors with the turmeric. We know curcuminoids in the turmeric are very supportive of phase 2 detox approach. And you're going to be able to get a lot of antioxidants through the bright phytocompounds and colors that we're going to be getting through the diversity of produce.
So while you might be hypocaloric on our detox, you're not going to be hungry because you're chewing at every meal. You're having protein at every single meal. And oftentimes we hear that participants actually are eating more food than they normally do on our detox.
And yet, like you said, Becky, in order to actually detoxify, we do need to be a little bit hypocaloric or lower calorie than our basal metabolic rate, because that does aid in the breakdown catabolism, which liberates the toxins from our body fat. And we see successful participants losing from 4 to 10 pounds in this 10-day process. And the beauty is that we're actually through that excretion and encapsulation process of really focusing on phase 2 properties, which when we're looking at our detox packs, Each detox pack in our 10-day detox Reset, Restore, Renew Detox Packs is going to have 3 capsules that support that phase 2 enzyme pathway, 1 antioxidant blend to prevent the oxidative stress from the process of the detox itself, and then 1 phase 1 pill which provides support for liver and bile flow. And we'll provide details of this in next video where we'll talk to you about how to do a 10-day detox.
For now, you can check out the link below to get our 10-day detox protocol. Instead of $9.99, we will give it to you guys for $1.99 with the code below. Smash the like button, guys.